very uniqueness of Mr. Anand Patil is that he's been associated with various engineering colleges, schools, corporates for delivering the subjects or the special seminars and mind your mind, how to give parenting seminars, how to handle the critical situations, how to improve the efficiencies, kind of different seminars and different topics he's been doing at regular intervals. And it's my fortune because I have been opportunity to associate with him, work with him for when on practical field we have been there. He's been a guide and motivator for me also specifically, and we had worked together for the special projects. And he is associated with a voice called Vedic Voices for Education and Education Center in Pune. And this voice is actively engaged in giving the right direction, right path to the young generation, and he has been instrumental in that. So this is about Mr. Patil.
Project has come. Anand Patil sir has come.
Yeah. So this is about Mr. Anand Patil. As I said, it was my fortune to work with him. We had been worked together for at many projects, and we were there. Actually, he's been as as motivator for me for the mind your mind, and sharing this knowledge, sharing wisdom with all the people. Sharing the wisdom with the people. We had been on the field together. So please welcome him, and then I would like to hand over to Mr. Patil. Before that, as I said, the topic is very important. As you say, while you're driving on the road, you see, Nazar Hati, Durgatna Gati, kind of things, you see the logos. Chuki Dhyan Gai Jan. So today's topic will be very critical, and there cannot be the right person like Mr. Anand Patil. So Anand Patil sir, unto you. Thank you very much for joining and giving a special time. It's my pleasure to introduce you, sir.
Thank you so much. It's good to see you and hear you again. So, thank you. Please give your blessing so that we can conduct the session properly. Thank you. Okay, good afternoon all. This is Anand here. As Raghunath mentioned, we are going to discuss about the mind today. It's a very interesting topic because a lot of times we actually go through our daily routine, and it is not easy to realize that our mind is playing with us, right? And when we talk about minding your mind, I think it's not easy because first of all, you have to understand what is our mind. So all those topics we'll be conducting. So let me just introduce what exactly we're going to cover, what will be, it will help you, and what will you get after this 1 hour discussion. Okay. So we're trying to make it interactive as much as possible. I know it's over Zoom, so although you'll not be able to see me as much as generally would have been on a face-to-face basis, but let's try to make it interactive. So we'll use the chat window to pour in your comments, to pour in your thoughts while I speak, and I'll be asking some questions. So we're going to talk about how this uncontrolled mind can have an effect on us. What are the positive and negative effects of mind? And what is the solution, first of all? You can obviously talk about a lot about the problems, but what about the solution? We should know the solution as well. What is the role of mind and how to control the mind? So that's how we're going to span it out. So we'll probably discuss for about 45 minutes to 50 minutes, and we'll leave about 5-10 minutes for discussions or questions. So let's get started, right? So the learning objectives are, you'll basically be able to understand how I can make my mind as a good friend, and what can it do if my mind is not controlled. Very important to know, because in our day-to-day life, we'll not realize that the mind is actually playing games with us. So very important. And then how do prayers actually help us, right? So before we jump into the actual topic, I would like to hear from you, especially from using your chat bot, the chat, this thing, in terms of how do you think or what is your mind from your perspective, right? So you can use your chat window to pour in your thoughts what you think a mind is, right? So don't hesitate to, pour in your thoughts, whatever you think, what is mind to you? Okay, okay, let's start. Okay, I haven't seen any one response. Please start.
Anand, I just wanted to check, this is that you're not able to audible. I just wanted to check to audience, is Mr. Anand audible, please?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, because there was message that okay, in chat they said mind is thought generating machine.
Yes, so I have Prakash, Mr. Prakash is saying mind is thought generating machine. Okay, very good. Anything else? What do others think? Mind is man. Okay, good thought. Mind is mana. Okay, mind is mana. Okay. Sushant is saying set of thinking. Okay. Animesh is saying it's thought generating machine and power of imagination. Okay. Good thoughts. Keep pouring in your thoughts. Because the more you make it interactive, the more it will help me to understand what you're going to understand. Okay, so there are some thoughts which we have got. So it's very interesting to know. Now, okay, somebody is saying sum of conscious, subconscious, and unconscious thoughts. Okay, very good, very deep. Conscious, subconscious, and conscious. Rashmi is saying mind is a subtotal of thoughts. Okay, nice. All right, so mind is such a thing which is not easy to pinpoint and understand. Right? For example, if I ask you, if you get a problem with your, okay, Paresh is saying stories of thoughts, Alisha is saying mind is software that controls you. Okay, very interesting. It is a software that controls you. Let's say you got a problem, somebody's got a problem with the heart, right? And the person goes to a cardiologist, right? Now, what is the first thing the doctor is going to do? He's going to use the stethoscope, and he's going to check in the region of the heart. Obviously, everybody knows where the region of the heart is, right? That's what he's going to do. Now, if somebody goes to a ophthalmologist, and basically somebody's got a problem with the eyes, he's going to check the eyes, right? Somebody's got a problem with the, let's say, stomach, right? Then you're going to go to the doctor, and doctor is going to check in your stomach probably with a stethoscope. Now, my question to you all is, when somebody's got a problem with the mind, who do you go to and where does the doctor check? Who do you go to, first of all? And then where does the doctor check? Does they check in the region of the heart, or your mind, or your brain, or where? Which area does he use his stethoscope or check? I compare mind as a place where we have thoughts, experiences, in present awareness, kind of a glowing ball. Okay, that's interesting. Pradnya is saying it's a seat of cognitive abilities, emotions, and consciousness. Okay. Yeah, so my next question was, if somebody's got a problem with the mind, right? Who do you go to and where does the person or the doctor check? That's my next question. Any answers? Whatever comes to your mind, you can keep pouring in. If you want, you can unmute and you can answer as well. Any thoughts? Okay, Nikhil is saying psychiatrist. Yes, okay, very good. Now, what does the psychiatrist do? Psychologist or psychiatrist, Pradnya is saying, very good. So what does the doctor do with this person who's got a problem with the mind? Where does he check in the body? Anybody? Brain. Okay, Krishna Prasad is saying brain. Okay. Anybody else? Nikhil is saying check out our emotional stability by doing what? Checking out by emotional stability by using a BP machine or a stethoscope or a okay. He communicates with the patients. Communicates how? Observe our behavioral pattern, our sense organs. Okay, interesting. Then Charushila is saying it deals with reactions, impressions, organ cannot be checked. Organ cannot be checked. Okay, that's the answer I was looking for. So thank you, Charushila. Organ cannot be checked, which means you cannot check the mind. That's what we are saying, correct? Okay, somebody is saying ask for general questions, ask various questions, behavior, counseling. Okay, a lot of aspects. The question is psychologist and there is no external checking, only the talking. Okay, so my question is, where is the mind? That we are not being able to answer it yet. Okay. Now I'm going to answer the question. In case I do not answer at the end of the session, please do remind me so that I can answer your question. So let's go ahead. So as all of you said, mind is a subtle part of the body which you can't see. Correct? Nobody can see your mind, but everybody's got a mind, right? And it actually, as you said rightly, some of you rightly said, it is capturing the thoughts, or it is generating the thoughts. It is capturing real life experiences. It is emotional. It is the emotional center of the entire body, and it is actually, doing a lot of things. As somebody said, it's like a software. It is controlling us. So many things. In fact, most of the cases, our mind is controlling us, right? So let's look at this analogy which has been given here. You can see the gross body, the body which we have, whatever hands, legs we can see, that is our gross body, right? And then there is another body within that, which is called as a subtle body. Subtle means you can't see it. That's the body which has the mind as well, right? And it has got mind, intelligence, and ego. And I'll explain it later. And then the innermost portion of us is the soul. The soul is the one who we are, right? So I'll touch upon this later again, right? So let's try to understand from a computer analogy. It will become very easy. The gross body is the hardware which we see, which you can see, feel, touch, right? The subtle body is the software. Can you see the software? No, unless you actually obviously open an editor and check out the code and all these things, right? But for a user, you cannot really check a software, or you can see a software. So the subtle body is like a software which generally you cannot see unless you have an editor, and or some of you might become related to computers. So in an editor you can go and check the software, you can change it. So the subtle body is like a software which is made up of mind, intelligence, and ego. Obviously you cannot check your intelligence as well, correct? And your ego, which is basically saying I am Anand, right? I am this, I am that. That is also something which is very, very subtle, right? That's also you cannot check. Okay. So, and the innermost portion is the soul, which is actually who we are, right? And which is the operator who's operating the machine, right? Like that. So this is the way the mind operates. The mind actually captures the information through 5 senses. So all of you know we've got 5 senses: eyes, nose, ear, tongue, and skin. And whatever information is given to the mind, it captures, and it does not take a decision on its own. It gives the decision power to the intelligence, right? Let's say you are somebody is a diabetic patient, and the person goes to a party and he's offered a lot of sweets, gulab jamun, rasmalai, right, pedha, this and that. And by looking at these sweets, this person is getting thoughts in his mind, I should eat all of them, right? The mind is thinking, I should eat all of them. The intelligence is then thinking, the mind passes that information to the intelligence, and the intelligence says, no, you got diabetes. If you eat sweets, you'll land yourself in trouble. That is what the intelligence is going to say. And there will be clash between intelligence and mind. Intelligence and mind. Who wins? Obviously, the person who's got his intelligence strong, and I'll explain what I mean by that, is the person who is going to win. Right? That's how the mechanism works. And so, as we said, mind is has got 2 departments: conscious and subconscious. And it generally has the storehouse of thoughts, unfulfilled desires. I've got so many desires in my heart, and they are in the mind, right? Or the heart, we can say. Okay. And it's also got a lot of experiences, bad, good. Like, for example, if we go to a particular mall and you go to a shop, like let's say Bata shop, just for example, and you had some bad experiences, then you don't want to go into the shop, right? If you go to another shop, you have very good experiences, you want to go to the shop. So that's how the mind works. Sometimes it likes something, sometimes it does not like something. That's how it works. Okay. Okay. So now let's try to understand. Now, as the modern society is advancing, and we see people are coming up with newer and newer graduates, and new things are happening, there are some things which are happening in the background, and we don't get to know these things, right? Like some of these things are increasing day by day. What is that? The violence is increasing. Unemployment is increasing. Obviously, in the last 3-4 months, the unemployment has actually risen to the fullest extent, right? The violence is increasing: murder, suicide, corruption, mental stress. Right now, it is considered as the worst period in terms of mental stress, because people actually are, kind of jailed in their homes, and they don't know what to do. right? So that's the phase we are going through. There are divorces, right? Many divorces are happening in this period as well as in general as well, right? Like one time I heard a story. One lady gave a divorce to a husband because the husband did not like her page on Facebook, right? So it sounds funny, but it happened. It's a real life story. You can Google it on it, and you'll find it. One husband gave divorce to her wife because she was partying too much. Right? Every Friday she used to go for party, right? Or every other day she used to go for party. Then one wife said she divorced her husband because she did not want to, conduct Karwa Chauth. Karwa Chauth where the woman fast for the husband. She said, fasting karna hai Karwa Chauth pe, wo bhi tumhare liye bilkul nahi, divorce. So like that, nowadays we see in the modern society there are divorces over trivial and very very small things. Chota sa kuch cheez ho gaya, divorce de diya, right? Like that, there are so many cases you'll find. In fact, I found about 11 reasons which are very very silly reasons, and like that. So anyways, one guy said, I support Modi and my husband supports Kejriwal, so we cannot go ahead and stay with each other, so I'm going to divorce. So like that, there are so many reasons. Like my mother-in-law, still she supports Congress. Obviously some of you would be Congress supporters, some of us are BJP supporters. I'm not I'm not publicizing anybody as such, but her grandsons, they support Modi. So they always have a fight with the grandmother. Tera Congress Hare gaya, mera BJP aa gaya, like that, right? So like that. But this husband actually divorced her wife because tum Kejriwal ko support karte ho, main Modi ko support karta. Like that, the mind actually is so brittle. It is so brittle. On a small note, they will fight and they will actually divorce each other. That is how it is going, right? So drug addiction is increasing. Any idea which is the state in India which has got the highest addiction rate in terms of drugs? Anybody knows?
I think Punjab.
Yes.
Punjab.
Yes. Anshul is right. And somebody else spoke. I don't know who spoke, but yeah, you are right as well. Sorry. Yes. So Punjab is the state which has got the highest drug addiction. The state government is literally struggling to keep the youths alive, not to go for drug addiction. Right. So these things are increasing. Right. Recently, we have seen in a spat of murder, spat of suicides, and I don't want to name so many famous personalities that also committed suicide because of mental depression. Mental stress is increasing because people are not able to handle. Right. That's the situation which we are going through. Right. Communal violence is increasing. At least due to this pandemic, I think that is reduced. But before that, if you would have seen, communal violence is the norm of the day. Right. Public unrest is increasing. There are so many issues. Maratha, this thing. Every day there used to be some public unrest. Right. Recently, I saw I'm just going to disable the annotation. Yeah. Recently, you would have seen in America, especially 1 month back, when there was a lockdown, people came on streets, especially in Los Angeles, and they were, demonstrating. Nahi chahiye humko lockdown. Hamara liberation humko wapas de do. We want our freedom. Why are you stopping us from, enjoying our beaches? It is summer time. You cannot, lock us down like this. And the government is saying कि तुम्हारे अच्छे के लिए कर रहे हैं भाई, लॉकडाउन इसलिए कर रहे हैं कि you don't get corona. But नहीं, हमको corona होगा तभी चलेगा, but हम लोग beaches पे जाएंगे. So like that, the public unrest is there always, right? Wars are going on, and we just came out of, probably escaped potential war with China, right? And obviously, it is not that it will not happen again, right? China is very very dangerous in that sense. Terrorism is increasing, that's the norm of the day. Every state has got its own terrorists, right? Now these things are steadily increasing every year. The difference is increasing, and we can come to know the unrest by the number of states increasing in the country, number of countries increasing. So these problems are increasing, right? In fact, Times Magazine polls recently suggested the number two problems in the society is crime and lack of morality, which means crime is increasing and morality is also decreasing, right? So that's the state. In fact, they did a survey in the US schools. This was 30-40 years back, about 1970s or 80s. And what they found, they wanted to find out what are the biggest problems in the school, right? And at that time, you will be surprised to know the biggest problems were children or students talking in the class, children sticking bubble gum under the table, and children making a lot of noise while crossing the corridors. These were considered the biggest problem in the schools. And come to 2000 era, 2015, they did a survey and they found out the problems have totally changed. You know what the problems were? The problems were children being drug addicts, children bringing ammunitions in the school. You know, you would have seen so many cases in the US especially. They bring guns and they'll kill. Third, teenage pregnancy. Girls in the school, you know, having pregnancy at a very, very early age. These are the problems in the current era. So, are we actually advancing? You know, that's the question you have to ask. This is the number of people who are in the state prison. Number is increasing. This is for US. And you can see more than 2.4 million in jail. And obviously, this is an old number. Obviously, as the that's one thing. Probably it has reduced now because of the pandemic. Yeah, but in general, this is increasing day by day. Guns are increasing. Yeah, I'm getting. So, in case somebody is not muted, if you could mute, please. Yeah. Okay. So the murders are increasing. You know, the number of rapes cases are increasing. Right. Children, when they actually go to school, and by the time they reach the age of 15, so from age 5 to age 15, they watch at least so many, you know, murders, you know, 10,000, 1 lakh murders, you know, so many murders they see. You know, this is just an average number which has been shown, but they watch so many murders, right? And they are also see so many acts of violence, 10,000, 100,000 acts of violence. That is what they see before they turn up, you know, 15, right? From 5 to 15, that is what they're seeing. Now imagine a child watching every day somebody is murdering somebody. There are violent scenes on the movies. What is happening on the minds of the children, right? It is actually turning them violent. They are thinking this is normal. कोई आता है चाकू से किसी को मारता है और चले जाता है. कोई आता है बंदूक लेता है और मार देता है, right? So this is actually creating problem in the society because the children are actually getting affected by the TV. Now you might be saying, अरे यार आप लोग थोड़ा exaggerate करते हो बहुत, you know, ऐसा थोड़ी होता है. इतना मूवी है यार, उसमें क्या है, बच्चे देखते भूल जाते हैं, उसमें क्या. This is what you might be thinking. But let me tell you a real life incident. In Tokyo or in Japan, there was a cartoon serial, and it was being relayed at a certain point of time. And they observed that across the country, at least 100 children went unconscious when they were watching this cartoon film. Because the way the cartoon film was relayed, the contents were there, and the children watched it, they became dizzy, and they actually fell unconscious. Now, this is the effect of television on children. Don't think television is just, you know, कुछ problem नहीं है. और क्या cartoon film देख रहे हैं, movies देख रहे हैं, उसमें क्या है ऐसी बात? I'll tell you another story. One time this happened in Pune itself. In Pune, because I'm from Pune, so I know obviously I'll be able to tell you a lot of stories from Pune. So in Pune, there was a particular place when they found one boy was killed and his head was cut off from his body. This was only, you know, 12, 13 years old child. And they started to investigate, and what they realized was really, really shocking. There were about 10 children who used to play, you know, very regularly at one particular place. And these boys, at one day, they found out that this boy who was actually been murdered, he was actually very intelligent boy and he was always winning in the game. So these boys, what they did, they killed his head, they killed him, cut off his head, and they were playing with the head. You might say, "अरे ऐसे कैसे खूंखार बच्चे हैं, ये बच्चे अपने सर के साथ खेल रहे हैं?" So the policeman asked him, "कि ऐसे क्यों किया तुमने?" Because they said he always used to win and we win, and we were very, very envious of this. And then they said, "ठीक है, but why did you cut off his head?" Because we watched a cartoon film, and वो cartoon film में उन्होंने ऐसे ही किया था. एक cartoon का मुंडी मरोड़ था, and they were playing with the actual head. This is a real life story. I'm not making it up, right? Now you can see the impact of television on the children. It is actually having an impact, right? That is how it is, right? Just to illustrate this, the impact of mind and the impact of whatever we see in our life, I'll give you another story. One time, there was a couple, American couple. and both of them were blonde. Blonde means obviously they're they were Gora, right? White, and the wife was pregnant, and after pregnancy they actually had a black child, pura kala kaluta bacha, right? And the wife and husband were shocked. The husband was looking at the wife, kya kiya tune? And the wife is saying, nahi, maine kuch nahi kiya. I have been very chaste with you, so that is not a problem, but we need to find out why, ऐसा क्यों हुआ. So went to the doctor, बोला कि यार ये हमको काला बच्चा कैसे हो गया? Is it? I hope it is not an exchange वगैरह तो नहीं हुआ hospital में. And the doctor said नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ है. So then they started investigating. The doctor asked कि आपने when you were pregnant, what all things did you do? So the wife started narrating. ये खाया वो पाया, वो पिया, मैं ये serial देखती थी, वो serial देखती थी. And then she said, yeah, I used to have a photo of, in my bedroom, I've got a photo of Michael Jordan. So for those who don't know who is Michael Jordan, he is one of the famous basketball players, and he is black. He is black bodied. He's got a black body. So she said, I got a photo of him in our bedroom, and every time I used to go to bed, I used to watch at him because he's my favorite player, and I used to meditate on him saying कि भगवान please मुझे इसके जैसा बच्चा चाहिए. And she said all 9 months I prayed to the Lord, I want a son similar to this Michael Jordan. हो गया काला बच्चा. अब पता नहीं Michael Jordan बनेगा कि नहीं, that's a different story, but काला बच्चा हो गया. That is the impact of actually our thoughts and what we see in our life, right? That is how it is. Another story. One wife, one lady, she was pregnant, and she gave birth to a child, and the child would cry continuously, and it will stop only in few instances. And these instances were when the mother would be watching a particular, or the child would be watching a particular serial on the TV, the child would be quiet. It will not be crying. So the wife asked कि ऐसे क्यों हो रहा है? ये सिर्फ ये serial जब देखता है तभी शांत होता है, बाकी सब जगह रोता ही रहता है, ऐसे क्यों है? And they realized that the wife had only seen that serial during her pregnancy. बाकी कुछ नहीं देखा था उसने. उसको वो serial बहुत पसंद था. Let's say, सास भी कभी बहू होती है, ऐसा कुछ serial था. And she used to watch it every day. And that is the only serial she saw. Nothing else. So the child was used to actually watching the serial since the days of being in the womb. That is the effect, subtle effect these things have in our life. So don't think नहीं है तो क्या मासूम बच्चे टीवी देख रहे हैं उसमें क्या है? नहीं. It is actually having an impact on the children's mind, right? It is so dangerous, right? Let's go ahead. So many drug addict case in the European Union. I have already talked about divorces, many divorces, and that too for people who actually get married. There are people who don't even get married, so think about them, right? Average number of people who commit suicide. Maharashtra is considered the number one state of suicide, which was in 2014. I don't know what is the current number, but there's nothing to be proud about, but that's the reality. So the question really to be asked is, are we advancing in the right direction, or are there any problems in the society? And we can see in the society there are so many problems, and that is creating so many troubles for us, right? So what is this to be attributed to? आप लोग बोलेंगे नहीं ये तो common है, society है तो problems रहेंगे, इसमें क्या है? आप लोग बहुत ज़्यादा बड़ा चढ़ा के बोलते हो. No, this is not the case. So let's try to understand the root cause. Why is there so much chaos and confusion in the society? Like currently, if you look at Maharashtra, nobody knows how to stop this pandemic. Time and again, the government says lockdown कर दो, बंद कर दो सबको, and then they think हाँ problem solve हो गया. नहीं, कहाँ problem solve? You cannot solve the problem like this. You have to find out medicine, right? That is the solution, but they are not able to. They don't know when the vaccine is going to come. They don't know how to stop people from mixing with each other. How long will you stop people from mixing with each other, right? When are the schools going to start? When are the colleges going? Nobody knows. So everybody is confused, right? Obviously, this seminar is not about finding a solution for pandemic or COVID, but in general, how the problems in the society are increasing. Talk about the mind, how it plays games with us, right? So uncontrolled mind is one attribute or one factor because of which there are so many problems you see in the society, especially depression, stress, hypertension, lack of trust. Trust ही नहीं है आजकल लोगों में, right? बच्चों को भी नहीं है, बच्चों के ऊपर भी नहीं है, colleagues में नहीं है. You don't see trust, right? And so many problems. This is one of the problems we want to discuss is mind, right? It's all because of disturbed senses, fickle mind, and lusty intelligence. Disturbed senses matlab kya? The mind or the senses cannot focus on one thing. You are actually working on your laptop or whatever what you're doing, and then suddenly you think, "Ha, WhatsApp में क्या देखते हूँ मैं?" And suddenly you turn to your mobile. And then mobile में कुछ नहीं है. Then you think of something else. Then you call somebody. Your mind is continuously going from one place to another, to another, to another. That's the situation, right? So let's see what are the actions of uncontrolled mind. When your mind is not controlled, what does it do? Let's try to understand, right? Now, people go through the therapy saying कि नहीं यार ये हमको ये सब philosophy वगैरह मत दो, क्या करते हैं हम लोग रात को थोड़ा थोड़ा पी लेते बस mind कुछ भी वो शांत हो जाता है. That's what people say, but that's not the case. People take drugs, people go through gambling, people pick up quarrels, right? People murder each other, people rape. There are so many problems in society which are found, right? I'll tell you a real life story, and then you'll come to know how the mind is so flickering and so uncontrolled, right? One time there was one guy in US, right? And he had recently bought a very luxurious car, let's say BMW, and he had parked it in his driveway. So these guys have these bungalows, and they have a driveway, which is basically a place to park your car and so on and so forth. So he had parked his car, and he had two children. One was 11-year-olds, and the second was 7-year. So both of them were playing inside, and the dad was sitting in the lounge or the hall, and the children said, "Dad, we want to play outside." He said, "That's fine. Make sure you do not touch the car," because he was very, very attached to the car. नया car लिया, अभी भी लिया है, बहुत सारे पैसे खर्च किए हैं, लगभग 50 लाख रुपए. So I'm obviously attached to the car. So I don't want to, you to scratch the car or do anything with the car. So दूर रहो उससे. That's what the dad said. The children said, "Yes, Dad, we will not want to touch the car." So they went outside. Half an hour passed by. The elder son came and said, Dad, what happened?" Dad, younger one scratched the car. As soon as the dad heard younger one scratch the car, the dad really became angry. His blood started boiling. Usko gussa aane lag gaya. And he said, "Get the younger one at once!" He shouted on the top of his voice. And the elder one fetched the younger one immediately. And as the younger one was coming, he was really afraid. Pata nahi mera kya hone wala hai. Mujhe marne wale. And as soon as the younger one came, the blood was still boiling, he was still angry. So whatever he found in his hand, he took and he hit him on the younger one's hand. It was a flower vase. And as soon as he hit, blood started oozing, coming out of the hand. The hand was fractured. The younger one started crying uncontrollably. In a split of a second, this person had fractured the tender hand of a 7-year-old boy. He didn't realize it. It was his own son, right? He didn't realize it. As soon as he came to his senses, he realized what he had done. And he picked up the younger one and rushed to the hospital. In the same car, rushed to the hospital, went to the hospital, he was treated, a couple of hours went past, and the younger one was calm and cool now. He was nursed, he had a bandage, and they were coming back in the same car. The dad was very, very silent. He was not feeling good. He was thinking, what did I do to my son? And the younger one asked a question. Dad, do you know what I wrote on the car? The dad was already depressed. He was not in his senses. He was thinking, kya puch raha hai bechara bacha. So he said, no, my son, I don't know what you wrote on the car. The younger one said, Dad, I wrote on the car, I love you. As soon as the father heard, I love you, he was devastated. He was thinking, yaar, ye mera bacha itna mujhse pyar karta hai, and I am the one who is actually hitting him. What kind of father am I? Right? So this is what he's thinking. But the story does not end there, my friends. The story does not end there. The father went on to commit suicide the next day. He could not take it up. He could not take it that a father like me and a son like my younger son who loves me so much, and he's actually, I actually, just for a small mistake of scratching a car, I actually, hit his hand and, I damaged his hand. He couldn't take it. He could not take it at all. And his mind went berserk and he actually committed suicide because his mind was not under his control. He could not control his anger. And we have gone through experiences. We don't have to rely on these experiences. We have actually our own experiences. When somebody does something to us, कुछ तो रास्ते में कोई गाड़ी ठोकर दे देता है, and you go get out of the car and start shouting at the person, देखता नहीं है क्या, सिग्नल पे रुके, क्या कर रहे हो? We get angry. It's obvious. It's obvious, right? So it feels it's obvious, but it is not. It is not, because for a small mistake of others we get angry, which is not a normal situation. You might think नहीं ये तो normal है, सब लोग ही करते हैं. नहीं, सब लोग करते रहेंगे, but वो normal situation नहीं है, क्योंकि the mind is not under control. Imagine एक छोटा सा incident हो गया, कार में scratch कर दिया, and father is angry. This is the situation of the current society. And people go through alcohol, people drink, people beat others, people do what kind of domestic violence, सब की तरह के problems है. They pick up quarrel on anything and everything. Recently, just few years back, I had gone to drop my children, my daughters for a dance class, right? Bharatnatyam, and I saw there were two people who were fighting with each other, one lady and one male, and they were fighting in the sense they were shouting at each other. And I was watching, they were shouting at each other for 15-20 minutes, and I was wondering kya ho gaya itna? And you'll be shocked to know that the reason for the fight was the male guy, the guy had not parked his two-wheeler in the right way, and it was obstructing the lady. तो उसके ऊपर उनका झगड़ा चल रहा था कि तू कुत्ता मैं बिल्ली, तू ये वो मैं. Like that they were fighting for 15-20 minutes. Can you imagine? Just one small thing, one person had said sorry मेरी गलती है, it would have ended there. नहीं, it went on for 15-20 minutes. That is how the mind of people nowadays is. People are actually getting cranky, people are getting uncontrolled by small things. Recently I got to know the pandemic has actually tested the patience of people. People cannot handle each other in the same home for a long time. One of my friend was saying 2 महीना हो गया हम लोग एक दूसरे के साथ रह रहे हैं. There are two, husband, wife and 2 kids, right? And he was saying, as soon as it is 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, we have had enough interaction, and the father says, okay, everybody goes to their own rooms now for the next couple of hours. We are not interacting. That is the situation. Just 1 minute. Right. That is the situation. Right? People are not able to handle each other. The patience levels are reducing. Why? Because the mind is not controlled. The mind is always, asking for so many things. Right? The mind is like a monkey. You've seen a monkey. A monkey does not stay at one place, at any point of time. It is always jumping from one point to another. Right? It is going from one tree to another, one spot to another. Unless it is eating or sleeping, it is not, peaceful. Now, the mind is similar to that. Now, you can imagine if a monkey is drunk. If the monkey is drunk, what will happen? Right? The monkey will behave like mad person. Similarly, the mind is if it is not under control. Right? That reminds me, there was one person who was experimenting, was showing something to the audience. So he took 2 glasses. In one glass, he took alcohol, beer, and in another glass, it was simple water. So he was demonstrating something. So he put a small insect in one glass, which was the beer, and then the same another insect in the another glass. So the insect which was in the beer, it died immediately, right? After some minutes. The other insect which was in the water, the insect was nicely floating in the water, right? So he showed to the audience, and he said, "So what do you understand from this demonstration?" So one person said, "I will tell." So the guy asked, "Okay, you tell what do you understand?" He said, दारू पीने से पेट के सारे कीड़े मकोड़े मर जाते हैं, इसलिए थोड़ा थोड़ा रोज दारू पीना चाहिए. This is what the guy said. Now, this is what is happening. People who are actually addicted to alcohol, they'll find any and every reason to actually drink alcohol. Recently when the lockdown was lifted, this was about 1 month back, right? It was seen people were standing in queue for at least 3-4 hours to get their hands on alcohol. And I recently came from just few hours back, 2-3 hours back. I came from the Sabji Mandi, right? We went to take sabjis because it's going to be locked down from tomorrow, right? So we went there, and one guy was fighting with the car, the guy who's taking care of the parking area. He said, "मेरी गाड़ी में दारू का bottle रखा था, 4 bottle रखा था, वो चारों का चार दारू का बॉटल चोरी हो गया. He was fighting with the guy. कि कार इधर हमने रखा है, तुम लोग क्यों खाली रख रहे हो? मैंने पूरा 10 दिन का स्टॉक लिया था और पूरा स्टॉक खत्म हो गया, तुम क्या करते हो? So this is what they were fighting about, right? So alcohol is become actually an addiction for people. They cannot survive without it. People are saying कि 2 महीना हो गया यार, अभी छोड़ दो, अभी तो हमको दारू दो. नहीं, they cannot actually survive, right? Without alcohol. That is how that is how the situation has become, right? That's what the situation is, right? Anyway, so alcohol is actually acting on the, first of all, the mind is not stable. It's always jumping from one place to another. Okay? And top of that, then somebody drinks alcohol, what is going to happen? It is actually going to make the mind crazy, totally crazy कर देता है. तो समझ में नहीं आता कर रहा है क्या आदमी, right? Like that. Like one guy, he called his son, and his son came from the school, and the results were going to be declared tomorrow. Right? So he started beating the child. एक झापड़ मारा, इधर मारा, उधर मारा. So the wife asked, यार क्यों मारे उसको? बोला इसका रिजल्ट है कल. तो क्या हुआ? तो रिजल्ट कल है ना, आज क्यों मार रहे हैं? बोला कि मैं कल बाहर जा रहा हूँ, तुमको पता है ना, तो इसलिए आज ही मार रहा हूँ, मुझे पता है इसका रिजल्ट क्या आने वाला, ये फेल होने वाला है, इसलिए मैं उसको आज ही मार रहा हूँ. Like that, people's actual minds are becoming crazy. They don't know what they're doing, right? Like that, you can see that. So that's because of the uncontrolled mind, right? So now, if the mind is uncontrolled, how can there be peace and happiness in society? Obviously, we cannot change the society on our own, but we have to start with ourselves. We have to start with ourselves in terms of how we can control the mind. The solution is controlling mind. So we talked about problems now. We talked about the root cause. The root cause is the controlled mind. Let's look at the solution. But before answering this question, let's try to understand who are we, right? So if you ask this question, generally I make this very interactive, but we are running out of time, just 10 minutes before we can finish. So I want to cover the solutions. Generally, I ask this question in schools and colleges and in offices, who are you? And I get different answers. Somebody gives their names, like, let's say somebody's here, Dilpreet, somebody's Krishna Prasad, somebody's Swapnil, somebody's Bala, right? Aradhana, Mrinal, Anurika. I'm not reading everybody's name, but Charushila, Prashant. So people tell me their names, right? And okay, so people tell me their names, people tell me their professions. People say, I am a technical engineer, I am a this engineer, I am that engineer, right? Somebody says, I'm a student. Many times in colleges, I get the answer, I'm a boy. And then I ask them, are you sure? And then everybody else starts laughing. So that's the state of the society. And that's the answers I get, right? We get different answers from different people. But all these typical answers actually are changing day by day. What do you mean by changing day by day? So somebody is a student, after a few years he becomes a professional, right? Somebody is, let's say, somebody's name is, let's say, Swapnil. Obviously, I'm just taking an example, but we can change Swapnil's name, right? We can change it to something else, correct? Generally, when a female in India, she gets married, she changes her name, typically, right? Nowadays, it's woman liberalization, so we will not talk about it more. Otherwise, I'll get a lot of questions saying, "Kyun? Humne kyun change karna chahiye?" Like my younger daughter asked me this question, my wife and me, कि पापा मम्मा ये लड़की को ही क्यों जाना चाहिए लड़के के पास, लड़का क्यों नहीं आ सकता लड़की के घर? They are asking very relevant questions. I don't have an answer to that. I said कोई बात नहीं बेटा, तेरे लिए हम लड़के को ही घर पे लेके आएंगे. Don't worry about it, right? So that is there. But we can change our names. Girls generally change their names when they go to their sasural, correct? Then people change their skin color. Michael Jackson was black, and then he went through a skin surgery, and he had a white skin. Obviously, he had to go through a lot of problems due to that. That's another thing. People nowadays change even sex. It's possible. There's got so much technology that change because their mind is like that. They got contamination in the mind. They also change that. So I tell people these things can be changed. Name can be changed. Your profession changes. One time, one lady was a karate player or a karate teacher, and her life was revolving around karate. Playing karate, eating karate, drinking karate, every friends karate, relatives karate, sab kuch karate tha, right? And then one day while she was teaching her, she broke her back. And when she broke her back, the doctor said, no more karate for your entire life. आपने इतना बुरी तरह से तुम्हारा पीठ टूट गया है, you cannot play karate at all. कुछ नहीं कर सकते. And she was devastated. बोले बाप रे, मेरा karate मेरा अगर life से चलेगा तो मेरा life में रहा क्या? I cannot do anything. So her life, which was revolving around her karate, was shattered in a moment when she broke her back. Like that, everything around is changing. So in that case, who are we? Like one time, one couple went to Bangalore, and they were recently married. Both of them loved each other. They had a love marriage, and the husband actually died of a heart attack. Very young, but died of a heart attack. And it was a Sunday, and the wife did not know what to do. They were very new to Bangalore. They were from Mumbai. So she called up her parents and said, "Ki, Papa, mummy, jaldi aao. Mere isko pata nahi kya ho gaya. Wo kuch awaaz nahi kar raha." And then she realized he had died. And then said, they said, "Jaldi aa to mujhe samajh mein aa raha kya karna hai." So bole ki we are coming by the next immediate flight, but it might take at least 10 to 12 hours because flight milna hai, aana hai वगैरह. So you stay with him for till at least the next morning. So नहीं, मैं इसके साथ बिल्कुल नहीं रह सकती. And because it's a dead body, nobody wants to stay with the dead body, right? So the point here is the couple were loving each other, but as soon as the person was dead, she did not want to stay with him. What does it mean? It means that whatever designations we are actually designing with each other, right? Our body, whatever professions, whatever we have, these are all temporary, right? The only permanent thing is who we are. It is the soul, right? As soon as the soul leaves the body, right, what happens? The person is no more there. Even if the same person who was there before, you don't want to stay with him. Some doctors say that we are actually chemicals and nothing more. सिर्फ हम लोग chemicals हैं, oxygen, nitrogen, सब कुछ यही है. हमारे body में और कुछ नहीं है. हम लोग कुछ और नहीं है. ये soul वोल सब बकवास है. ऐसे some doctors say. But then the question to them to be asked is, when you are in the chemical laboratory experimenting, and when you threw the chemicals in the sink, right, experiment हो गया, अभी सब chemical फेंक दिया. Do you cry? Do you cry कि नहीं मेरे hydrogen गया? No, you don't cry because there are no emotions because of the chemicals. Then why does one cry when the relatives actually pass away? If it's only chemicals, क्यों रोते हैं भाई? Because we are not only chemicals. Obviously, chemicals is part of our body. Chemical है हमारे body में, that is for sure. But we are not only chemicals. We are actually a person who is made up of emotions. In fact, it is attributed to pituitary gland, which is there in our body, which is very close in the brain. वो pituitary gland नहीं है तो emotion नहीं है. Okay? So like that, we are actually we are not a body. We are actually a soul. Like in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhirastatara muhyati. It is saying, as a person goes from childhood to youth to old age, he passes into another body upon death. The same person is going to childhood to youth to old age, right? Like that, right? So let's take the example of, let's say, Anuradha, right? Or anybody, no? Let's say, so let's say when she was actually a small child, right? She, or let's take the example of Aradhana. I still think it's Anuradha, but let's take the example of Aradhana. So when she was a small child, only 2 years old, she had a totally different body, and same with us, right? Now we have a totally different body. We cannot recognize. Nobody will be able to recognize us if you show your childhood photo with them, right? Because we've got a totally different body. The body is changing continuously, but are we changing? No, we don't change. Our hobbies change. Our likes, dislikes change. Earlier in childhood, we used to play with small bikes, right, or chota toy bikes. But now, when we become young, we want to play with cycle or a bike, right? So our likes and dislikes have changed, but we are the same person. We don't change, like that's the point, right? Which means we are actually a soul. We are not the body. That is a very important point to be noted. And this is a very, very big topic. I'm not going to go in details, but we have got so many proofs by which we can understand that we are not a body, but we are a soul. Now, why you're thinking, you're talking about mind and why you're talking about soul? Because when we understand we are the soul and not the body, for example, Sachin Tendulkar, if he comes in different dress, we're still able to recognize him because we are recognizing by his face. If he changes his clothes to a different gear, not a cricket gear, but other kapde pehen liye, we still remember him. We still recognize him. Similarly, when the soul changes this body, it gets a kind of a different clothes, right? And that's why it is the same person. That's the point we're trying, right? Okay. So there's an analogy given in Bhagavad Gita. It is said that a body is like a chariot. The senses are the horses. 5 indriya hai, 5 घोड़े हैं. The reins are the mind. The intelligence is the driver, and the soul is the passenger. Now the soul is supposed to tell the intelligence कि मुझे उधर जाना है. The intelligence will control the mind, and it will take the horses in the right direction. but अभी क्या हो रहा है? People have got uncontrolled mind. The mind has become so much uncontrolled that it doesn't listen to intelligence, and intelligence is actually gone down. I'm not talking about material intelligence, I'm talking about the behavioral intelligence कि मुझे क्या करना है लाइफ में, क्या नहीं करना, right? The intelligence which helps me to discriminate, that is gone down, going down, right? And the intelligence doesn't know what to do, क्या करना है. I give the example of this diabetic patient. When he goes to a party, people are offering him कि गुलाब जाम खाओ, रसमलाई खाओ, ये खाओ, वो खाओ. Mind is thinking क्या करूँ, खाना चाहिए. Mind is telling the intelligence खा ले, फोकट का मिल रहा है, तेरा क्या जा रहा है, बहुत दिनों से खाया नहीं है. And the intelligence is telling the mind, नहीं, आज खाएगा कस पछताएगा, दिन भर बाथरूम में बैठना पड़ेगा, हॉस्पिटल जाना पड़ेगा, इंसुलिन लेना पड़ेगा, ये वो. So dialogue is going on between the mind and intelligence. Who wins? It depends upon who is sharper. If you have let go your mind, क्या होगा? Mind को ढीला छोड़ दिया तो कभी नहीं सुनेगा. Intelligence को अगर sharpen किया, and I'll tell you how to do that, then it can control the mind. अब बोलेगा नहीं खाऊंगा, बिल्कुल नहीं खाऊंगा, and mind चुपचाप बिल्ली की तरह करके चुप बैठ जाए. That is how it is, right? I'll give some examples later. So now the soul is supposed to control the intelligence. The intelligence is supposed to control the mind, right? So I'll tell what is happening. The mind is out of control and is taking the chariot to a totally different place. जहाँ हमको जाना ही नहीं है उधर लेके जा रहा है, right? Okay. So I gave this example earlier in terms of how the mind is, right? The mind is such a thing that it can make heaven out of hell and hell out of heaven, right? So Bhagavad Gita में Krishna is saying, बंधुर आत्मात्मनस्तस्य येने आत्मयोजिता अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्व वर्तेत आत्मैव शत्रुवत्. It is saying for one who has conquered the mind, अपने काबू में कर लिया ना, मन तुम्हारा friend बन जाएगा. If you don't control the mind, it will become your enemy. That is how it is, right? Arjuna is saying to Krishna, Chanchalam himana Krishna pramadi balvadridam tasyam nigraham manne vayorusu dushkaram. Arjuna is saying कि ये Krishna ये mind बहुत dangerous है बाबा, एक जगह बैठता नहीं है बिल्कुल, एक काम करने लगता है दूसरा कुछ आ जाता है. So it's restless, it is turbulent. Turbulent मतलब बहुत इधर उधर भागता रहता है, right? And it is obstinate. Obstinate मतलब सुनता ही नहीं. उसको बोल रहा हूँ गुलाब जाम मत खा, फिर भी बोलता है नहीं खाना है. ये मत कर, बोलता है नहीं करना है. That is what the mind is. And he's saying I can control the wind but I cannot control the mind. It is very difficult. So Krishna is saying कर सकते हैं, mind को काबू में कर सकते हैं. कैसे? By practice. If you practice कि mind को control में करना है, and I'll tell you some techniques. By that you can calm the mind. You can put the reins to the mind. बोल सकते हैं उसको शांत रहे, इधर उधर मत भटक, right? For one who knows how to control the mind, self-realization शांत रहना possible है. For one who doesn't know how to control the mind, it will happen like that guy who hit his son. It will happen like those two people who are fighting over trivial matters, right? That is how it is. Okay. So now, like example of a knife is given. Is the knife good or bad? It depends on the situation. If the knife is used by a thief, it is bad. If the knife is used by a doctor, a good doctor, right? It is good, right? The knife can save somebody's life. Like that, the mind is also not good or bad. The mind is good if you control it. So let's start with the solutions. The first technique is do not allow the senses itself to wander. For example, you are going on the road and you watch a big hoarding of a very nice movie and you like the heroine, just the hero, whatever it is, right? And the mind says, "Arey yaar, movie chalte hai na, bahut dino se dekha nahi movie," right? And you are actually going to the office or you're going for important work. And obviously, आजकल तो movie जा नहीं सकते हैं, और आजकल तो Netflix पे ही movie आता है. That's a different story, right? But the mind is actually teasing you to go to the movie, and you don't want to watch the movie because बहुत movies देख लिया आजकल. Then you think, तो mind क्या बोलेगा? वो क्या करना है? वो billboard की तरफ देखना ही नहीं है. मन को बोलना है कि मत देखो उधर, मत देखो उधर. That is the first step because it's very much required. So senses को उधर जाने नहीं देना है. That's the first step. Withdraw them from the engagement. Right? For example, you start looking at a newspaper, and newspaper में गंदे गंदे फोटो आए हैं. तो आजकल तो न्यूज़पेपर भी बेशरम हो गए हैं, कुछ भी दिखाते हैं वो लोग. तो क्या करना है, वो वाला न्यूज़पेपर फेंक देना है, उसको छोड़ के बाकी सब पढ़ सकते हैं. That is how you withdraw the mind. Otherwise, it will take you to the wrong direction. You go to a party and they are offering you liquor, and you don't want to drink liquor. Let's say you take a vow कि नहीं आजकल से मैं दारू नहीं पीऊंगा, दारू से मन बहुत भटक जाता है. And you go there and friend अरे क्या आता है यार, सब अपने लेम है यार, क्या कितने दिन से पिया नहीं, क्या प्रॉब्लम है, एक थोड़ा बोलते तो क्या प्रॉब्लम है क्या. Then you tell the mind नहीं, ऐसे पार्टी में जाना ही नहीं. पहले तो जाएंगे तो क्या You should go when the you should actually resist yourself. That is how you withdraw the senses. That's the first solution. आप लोगों को ये थोड़ा easy थोड़ी है यार, इतना difficulty, right? Second is stop the mind at the thinking stage. The mind is making a plan. नहीं उधर जाऊंगा, ऐसे करूंगा, वैसे करूंगा. Just stop it there. लेकिन नहीं करना है मुझे, right? The mind is saying ये खाऊंगा, वो खाऊंगा, वहीं पर रोक दो. नहीं खाना मुझे, ये नहीं करना मुझे, right? Ignore the mind. Ignore the mind. बहुत बार mind बोलेगा नहीं ये करना है मुझे, वो करना है. Just stop it. लेकिन नहीं करना मुझे. Don't want to. You can talk to your mind actually, right? You can practice this. You can talk to your mind. Mind कुछ बोल रहा है कि, for example, I'll give you an example. You want to wake up early in the morning. Early means 5 o'clock. I'm not talking about early means 7-8 बजे. That is probably not early. Early means before the sunrise. 1.5 घंटा पहले sunrise, before sunrise is called early. It's called Brahma Muhurta. If you decide कि मुझे कल 5 बजे उठना है, तो you set a time alarm clock. तो alarm clock है. सुबह 5 बजे तो बजना ही है. चलो हो जाता है. And तुम बोलते अरे इतने जल्दी 5 कैसे बज गया? अभी तो सोया था. And you go and hit the snooze button. As soon as you hit the snooze button, before that what are you thinking? The mind is saying कि नहीं तू तो रात को सोया था लेट, इतना जल्दी कैसे उठेगा? तेरा नींद नहीं होगा तो तेरा दिन में बहुत खराब हो जाएगा. This is the mind saying. Intelligence saying नहीं, तुमने डिसाइड किया है आज से योगा करूंगा, आज से कुछ अच्छे बुक्स पढ़ूंगा. वो कब करेगा फिर? माइंड बोलेगा नहीं वो कल से करेंगे, आज से नहीं करेंगे. There will be debate between the mind and intelligence. It depends how you treat the mind. The mind is going to treat you the entire day. If you say कि नहीं और आधा घंटा सोता हूँ and you hit the snooze button and go to bed, गए. You have lost the battle to the mind in the first attempt. उसको दे दिया आपने, डील दे दिया आपको. उसके बाद mind is going to dictate you. नहीं आज ये नहीं काम करना, आज थोड़ा और सोना है, ये खाना है, वो खाना है, ये करना है. The mind is going to take you for a ride. So like that. That's why the first attempt you should win. मुझे बोलना चाहिए मान को नहीं मैं अभी उठूंगा, थोड़ा नींद कम हो गया कोई प्रॉब्लम, दोपहर में सो जाऊंगा, but I will get up at 5 o'clock. Like that you have to tell the mind. That's why you ignore the mind, tolerate its demand, listen to the intelligence. Intelligence तो सही बोलेगा, mind गलत बोलेगा. How do you know who is what? Intelligence is always going to tell you the right thing to do. Mind is always going to tell you the wrong thing many times, right? That's why look before you leave. Don't just do it. भले ही कितना नाइकी बोले do it. Don't just do it. Think before you do it. Right? That is the second stage. So stop the mind at the thinking stage. If you control the mind, it will actually help you to control in the entire day. For example, it is not that Sachin Tendulkar was born in a hospital. Sachin Tendulkar was born in a cricket ground. Not literally. What it means is, when the child Sachin was born, it is not that वो nurse आई और बोले कि ये लो आपका Sachin 100 शतक मार के आया है. No, he was born talented, definitely, no doubt about it. But he practiced regularly to make it to the records, to become a famous person. It is not कि नहीं उसके पास बहुत अच्छे skills थे, इसीलिए वो आराम करता था, कभी practice करता ही नहीं था. No, not at all. In fact, Sachin, now Virat Kohli, you can even count him in that, and you can count in many people like that who are successful. One of the success criteria or factors is that these people know how to control their mind. आपको क्या लगता है कि उनका माइंड नहीं बोल रहा है कि नहीं आज नहीं करना प्रैक्टिस, आज वो सो जाते हैं, जिम नहीं जाना? नहीं, उनका भी माइंड उसको बोल रहा है, बट दे से कि नहीं आज करना ही है, रोज प्रैक्टिस करना है. क्यों? रोज प्रैक्टिस करूंगा तो आई विल नो हाउ टू प्ले नाइसली. Even after doing that, so many times he also failed. क्यों? होता है इससे बहुत बार. That's why we should be practicing more. Like that, we should be practicing more with the mind. कि नहीं करूँगा ये चीज. Like that. That's the second technique. And there's a technique. Basically, your actions create impressions. Impressions create thoughts, and thoughts force you to do the act. For example, a quick example: a thief steals something in a house, and in one day he gets 1 lakh rupees. Right? बोलता हाँ एक दिन में 1 लाख रुपए मिल गया, वाह ये तो अच्छा है यार, ये तो आईटी इंजीनियर से भी बहुत अच्छा है. आईटी इंजीनियर 1 महीना तक काम करता है फिर जाके कहीं 1 लाख रुपए मिलता है, मुझे तो एक दिन में मिल रहा है, तो आई विल डू इट अगेन. ही डज इट अगेन एंड द एक्शन क्रिएट्स इंप्रेशन. ये बहुत आसान काम है और कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं. आई डू कीप इट डूइंग. दीज इंप्रेशंस आर क्रिएटेड इन द माइंड and the mind is thinking ये आसान काम है मैं करते रहूंगा. Similarly, I'll not go into details. I'll just tell you what this essence is. The essence is that if you keep on doing one thing, the mind thinks this is very nice. For example, if you keep on going to bed late at night, right? चेंज नहीं कर रहे अपने आप को, the mind will think this is normal. Late उठना, late सोना, ये normal है मेरे, it will never change. Okay? Like that, that's why you should put into practice what you want to do. Now, how does the mind get all these negative things, if at all? For example, वो चोरी करने वाला है, उसके मन में कैसे आया चोरी करना है? Okay? It is all through these inputs we are getting from our senses. I call it the Gigo principle. Gigo means garbage in, garbage out. Whatever we are hearing, whatever we are seeing, whatever you are listening, everything is becoming a reaction. गलत से सुनेंगे हम, गलत हो जाएगा हमारा, right? That's why this principle is very important. So I recommend this solution, which is called ABCD. Very, very nice solution if you want to mold yourself, change yourself, and become a more better person. All the successful people in the world have some or the other technique. I give this technique because this is very, very sound technique, and it helps a lot of people. ABCD. A means associate with good people so that you can become a good person. Because at the end of the day, if you do a wrong thing, your mind is going to make you guilty. पहले वो मन क्या करेगा तुमको गलत करने के लिए? It will actually force you to do that. And once you're done, तुमको गाली देगा, क्या मैंने तेरे को बोला था ना ऐसे मत कर, क्यों कर किया तूने? It will blame you. तुमको बोलेगा तूने ही गलती किया, मैंने नहीं किया, तूने ही किया. That is the mind. That's why we have to associate with good people who have good characteristics. Read good books like Bhagwatgeeta, Bible, like that, right? So that it creates a good impression in your mind. The more faltu ke books you will read, right? Faltu ke, which means basically crime books or Stardust, right? There's no use in reading those books of those Bollywood fans and all those things, right? Those will create bad impression in the mind. So whatever religion you might be following, if you are in Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, whatever, it doesn't matter. You've got all the scriptures in there. You read those books, which will give you good food for thought. Right? Or you can read about very great people like Mahatma Gandhi, Shivaji Maharaj, right? Those great books will help you to become your mind clean and calm. जितना मन हमारा साफ रहेगा, उतना हमारा behavior भी साफ रहेगा. Chant the names of God. If whatever religion you might be following, this helps for your mind to become peaceful. It is been done a survey किया ऐसा कि those people who follow some religious practice, some spirituality, they live longer and they are more peaceful. Right? So follow whatever practice you have. I actually chant the Hare Krishna mantra, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. But whatever religion you might be, whatever practice you might have, you can follow. If you don't follow any practice, we'll recommend you something if you can follow that as well. It depends upon you, right? Like that you can follow, because this helps your mind to become peaceful. This is called mantra meditation. Mantra meditation helps your mind to become calm and peaceful. You can Google on this mantra meditation Hare Krishna mantra. Benefits of that. You'll find out, scientists have conducted studies that they have found out that people who perform mantra meditation or yogasanas, their mind is very, very free from stress. Stress नाम का चीज उनमें है ही नहीं. Way zero. To the extent of zero, it is there. Right? And you can experiment yourself. I've been doing it for the last 12 years. I started when I was in UK, Ipswich, when I was working with British Telecom. And since then, I've never seen, basically I've never had stress which will overpower me. Right? Obviously, there are instances where I become stressful, but I go back again to mantra meditation. And I practice for 2 hours every day, early in the morning. And that helps me to become peaceful and calm. We generally recommend a sanctified vegetarian diet. Again, some of you might be eating non-vegetarian. It's okay. Don't need to stress yourself. Ki nahi, kya hoga? Keep it easy. Start with mantra meditation. Start with other things, and gradually you'll come to the probably you can reduce your diet, because again it's a big topic. I can explain in length, but we don't have time. But vegetarian diet helps to become peaceful. Right? Third is regulate your lifestyle. Right? So basically, if you regulate your lifestyle in terms of eating time, sleeping time, working time. Generally, if you wake up early in the morning, it will help you to become a healthy person. If your health is not good, then you're bound to get stressed because of the health. Right? So do some yogasanas, go to the gym if you want, run, whatever suits your body. Do that. It will maintain yourself. Your body is good, your mind can be good. If your body is not good, the mind is always going to trouble. For example, if your body is healthy, you are not going to focus on any part. But let's say you are going somewhere and you get pricked by a thorn. So kya karega wo? Foot, if you have a prick in the foot, the mind is always going to remind you, Are yaar, dukh raha hai, because it's always going to continuously, chota sa dard hai body mein, but it's always going to remind you, nahi problem hai udhar. So your body is healthy, no problem, the mind will become very, very healthy. Like that. Regular sense in the sense, wake up early, eat on time, whatever you eat, right? Go to bed on time, and have a timetable, right, which will help you to become more regularized, right? Understand the meaning of life, as we discussed some part of it, but we can go in more details in the future sessions, right? Associated with good people. Okay, we talked about that. So mantra meditation is the technique I'm telling you, or yogasanas, one of these techniques you can use, and we also talked about other techniques where you can control your mind. But if you perform mantra meditation, it is the best technique to control your mind. So I'll just summarize now. We're running out of time. Already actually over time by 15 minutes. So mind is very, very important in our life. If you want to become successful in your life, you have to control your mind. There are people like those examples I gave where they become uncontrolled because their mind is like a monkey who is drunk, and the mind becomes overpowered. Mind overpowers your soul and intelligence, and it creates havoc in our life, right? This is one of the problems of society. Obviously, there are many, many more problems, but one of the problems. And the solution to this problem is we have to nip it in the bud. Whenever the mind is thinking of some wrong things, just shut down. Then do mantra meditation, read good books like Bhagavad-gita, Bible, Quran, whatever it suits you, or any thought-provoking books which will help you become peaceful, right? Instead of reading the newspaper, you can actually read the books, right? Like that. So we'll stop here for any questions you might have. And we'll take any questions. You can either type it in the chat window or you can unmute yourself and ask any questions. Sorry, we just ran over 10 minutes, but the topic is so important, I thought we could probably take the time. So Rupesh has got a question you can ask. Yes, unmute yourself and you can ask the question.
Yeah, Anand, I suggest let them put on the chat back so that we can save on time, because time is
Sure.
it will be better so that we can answer immediately.
Sure. So you can use the chat window to type in the questions. Any questions you might have?
Yeah, Rupesh, can you please share your question on the chat box? Yes, Rupesh.
Okay, how can we strengthen our intelligence? So Shant is asking, how can we strengthen intelligence? So I gave one solution, which is ABCD, which basically means, yes, we will be sharing the presentation after this, so don't worry. I hope the organizers have your email IDs. If not, you can share the email IDs and we'll share the presentation. So how to strengthen our intelligence?
Yeah, we'll be sharing on WhatsApp and the link for that.
Yes. So the intelligence can be strengthened by giving the right inputs to your body, which means not watching things which will damage your intelligence. For example, if you watch wrong things on the internet, wrong things, your intelligence becomes polluted, perverted. And that is one of the reasons why you see the number of cases of rape are increasing. People are becoming uncontrolled because they are watching wrong things. They go on the internet. Nowadays, the internet is very free. कुछ भी देख लेते हैं गलत सलत, and then the mind becomes overpowered. Intelligence छूट जाता है कि क्या सही है क्या गलत है. So one input is be careful what you're watching, right? That's one. Second, I give another example is read thought-provoking books, right? Bhagavad-gita, Quran, Bible, which will help you to understand कि सही क्या है गलत क्या है life में, right? Then be mindful of yourself. Mindful means you need to know what is right and wrong for yourself. Obviously everybody's got their own values, but there are certain common values in the society. So you need to know what is right and what is wrong, what I should not be doing, right? That is done only when you chant, when you do mantra meditation, when you read these books. Okay? So these things can sharpen your intelligence by reminding yourself कि क्या सही है क्या गलत है, right? For example, a terrorist is brainwashed by the terrorist to tell them कि तुमको जाके Indians को मारना है. They are brainwashed every day, so their intelligence is polluted. Now, if the same person was given the right intelligence कि बाबा किसी को मारने से किसी का भला नहीं होता है, then they will not do that. It's a very simple example to understand. So if you keep yourself up to date with the mind intelligence कि सही क्या गलत है, the intelligence will not be perverted. Okay. I hope that answers the question. Any other questions?
Anybody has any question?
How can one take failure and disappointments in one step? Very good question, Bala. So basically, failure and success are part of the life. You have to understand this. You have to understand a lot of things in life are beyond our control. Now, if you look at the current situation, if you might say कि नहीं मुझे US जाना था, मुझे वीजा मिल गया था और अभी जाना था, अभी जा नहीं पा रहा हूँ, कुछ नहीं कर सकते. एक तो H1B कैंसिल कर दिया है, दूसरे ऊपर पैंडेमिक भी है. You cannot do. Just be peaceful. say कि नहीं कर सकते. There are things you can control, there are things you cannot control. Right? The things which you can't control, just leave them. For example, can you change the weather? Can you change the pandemic situation? Can you change other people? Hardly. You know, some people you can change by your own behavior, but you can't change them. उनको नहीं बोल सकते अरे यार तू क्या रोज 8 बजे उठता है कल से 5 बजे उठेगा नहीं. If he doesn't want to wake up, he can't. Right? So only things you can change in life, you should try to change. What are the things you can change? Yourself. You start with them. Right? So if you understand clearly कि कौन से चीजें हम change कर सकते हैं कौन से नहीं, then you can understand that there are, in Bhagavad Gita it is said, there are 5 things which actually influence the action which we are doing. Right? We'll not go into the details, but it is not only you who will actually make a success or failure. I'll give a very simple example and you will immediately understand. There was one player who was a friend of Sachin Tendulkar, who they grew up together. They went to the same school. They had the same teacher. They started playing cricket at the same time. And in fact, they started playing cricket for India at the same time. दोनों एक साथ ही खेलना चालू कर दिया. One became successful, which is Sachin. The other did not. Any guesses who this person is? Anybody knows? Yes, Bala is right. Yes, thank you for that answer. Yes, Vinod Kambli's answer. Why? Because at a very, very gross level, we can say Vinod Kambli's mind was not controlled. आप बोलेगे नहीं नहीं ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है उसके और भी problems. Yes, but the basic fundamental problem is mind was not controlled. If you look at it, Vinod was in fact a better player than Sachin. At one point of time, we used to appreciate अरे ये Vinod Kambli ना सारे record तोड़ने वाला. But what happened to him? He could not control himself. He could not take success. He actually went astray. क्या क्या उसने गलती उसने ये की कि he started doing things which he should not have done. He started going to bars. He started obviously a lot of cricketers do that, but he went uncontrolled. He started mingling with so many people, so many actresses. So many problems in the life. We'll not go into details. Obviously, we don't want to criticize him, but we have to learn a lesson. If you control your mind, yes.
Anand, I think you give the right example to the right person because the person you are talking, he is the physio for cricketers.
Oh, I think it would have really hit you in the heart because this is, what it is, right? Unless they control the mind. You can look at, Virat Kohli. What was he 7 to 8 years back? I know an example where he came to the dressing room and he said to himself, he got out after a very small score. And he said to himself, Virat, this is not you. This is not you. I want to change myself. And he is totally different person from them. You would know Bala, right? Because he said, enough of all this drinking and all these habits. I am going to change as a person now. So if you look at this person, he is a fantastic person now. He is so much, organized. He doesn't eat and drink, which is not going to, basically he is very, very disciplined now. That is what actually made Sachin Tendulkar a famous person. It is not only talent. If you know in Mumbai, and Bala would know me better than me, every year at least 5 lakh students, practice. अच्छे practice, अच्छे coaching institute से practice करते हैं. Cricket. I'm talking about cricket only. More than 5 lakh children actually practice. And there are so many grounds they practice. How many get selected in Indian cricket team? Hardly 1 or 2. And nowadays Mumbai से बहुत कम लोग आ रहे हैं. So क्या हो गया? Talent कम है क्या? नहीं, talent कम नहीं है. There are multiple factors we're talking about here. It is basically your luck. एक luck factor भी है. Your endeavors are also there. Right? So many factors are there. I talked about it. There are 5 factors which influence your success. It is so many IITs actually come out of IIT. Thousands of people come, but how many of they are Sundar Pichai? How many of there are achievers who actually achieve success? Not hardly any. I know a friend of mine who is an IITian, but he cannot make decisions. He is intelligent, but he hardly makes decisions. I am not an IITian. I am a normal college going guy. And he used to come to me saying, Anand, mujhe bata na how can I make a decision? Because he cannot make a decision. So it's not only one or the other factor. There are multiple factors which make up your life's decisions and success or failure. So that's why we have to accept ourselves and say, okay, this is what I am. I accept whatever I can control, and I cannot control the things in my life. That's all. Okay.
Yeah, and we'll take the last question. The last question is combination of 2 questions. The question is that how to, take care of, sometimes we are not being appreciated very well, and ego comes. It's kind of combination of that. There are 2 combinations. So how to handle that?
Yes. So many times it will happen, right? We don't get appreciated. then people let us down, and then you go into depression. So again, this comes under the same philosophy. You cannot change people. You can only control yourself and bring. You can change others by your behavior. Right? Can you change somebody saying कि यार मुझे appreciate, right? It is very hard to make people appreciate, right? It's very, very difficult. So you have to control yourself and say ठीक है कोई बात नहीं. Why should I give my remote control to somebody else? Means if I let my emotions be controlled by somebody else, then what is the point? Right? If somebody appreciates, I'll become happy. If somebody actually gives some negative feeling, क्या हो गया? No, you should not give your remote controls. I know it's very easier said than done. It's not that easy. But you should come to the stage where you tell your mind कोई बात नहीं, उसने appreciate नहीं किया ना, मैंने काम अच्छा किया था. Let me try to do better this time and see if you can appreciate. Right? It's all the play of the mind. Your mind is telling you कि उसने appreciate नहीं किया, उसने तेरे पर देखा नहीं है, तो problem है उसमें. No, you just say कोई बात नहीं, उसने appreciate नहीं किया ना, it's okay.